Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Well, 11:03 on The Lock Shop, fresh out of the Handsome Man draft, and the controversy rolls on here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Looks like we're going to have an appearance from Huss on The Lock Shop today. This is exciting. He's set up. He's in Costa Rica. He's going to hop on and join us as well. Bring in Jake right now. Bring Jake over, and we'll talk Handsome Man draft because I know Jake was in the chat, and then we'll bring Huss in from the, I think they call it the CR. Jake, you're a handsome man yourself. How you doing today?
Yeah, doing pretty well, Dusty. I did catch a bit of the Handsome Man draft there. I got like a middle portion, and I saw LT got Elvis, and my dad is a big Elvis fan. So in turn, I've been a pretty big Elvis fan. So I thought that was a bit of a steal, but I'm not going to do any tampering. I'm not going to say who I'm voting for.
There's enough of that already going on around here.
I thought LT got a steal with Elvis Presley kind of in the middle of the draft.
You know what? I was a guy that was on, I think, some of our lists was the guy who played Elvis in the movie, Austin Butler.
Yeah, Butler's not bad.
I mean, pretty handsome man himself.
I don't know if you watched, there was a show on Apple TV he did called Masters of Flight, which was pretty good.
He was in the Bike Riders.
The Bike Riders. And
I watched that on a plane or during the season, CFL season. Bike Riders was actually pretty good. Like, I like Tom Hardy and I like Butler, so that was a pretty good movie. I didn't mind that. Anyway.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been a bad pick. The other guy I said was in the chat was Taylor Kitsch. Tim Riggins, I don't know if he got picked.
No, you're right. He did get picked.
He watched Friday Night Lights. He's a big Tim Riggins fan myself.
All right, here's the perfect segue. We're talking handsome men, and we're joined by a handsome man, Huss from Costa Rica. What's up, buddy?
Boys, can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, you sound great, actually.
Beautiful. I don't know. You're coming in a little soft on me, but that is fine. Yes, greetings from beautiful Costa Rica. Pura vida. Pure life. That's what they say here. And hasn't been an entirely pure life lived while I've been here, but it's been pretty good. And as I say, there is a magic pool at this hotel because you get in that pool, you make picks, and they win every single time. I can't believe it. And this does go back, in fact, to, and again, well, it's good Pat's not here because this would still be, I'm sure it's still a little fresh from Sunday. But knowing that if the Chiefs were going to win, Xavier Worthy, who the Chiefs picked with the Bills selection, much like they did with Patrick Mahomes, the ride with Huss last week, and that Chiefs win started it all off. But it really has been nuts. I mean, the first parlay from the pool for WST was 6-1 on Tuesday. Yesterday, the pool party parlay plus 613. And then I doubled down and went a plus 800 Jets parlay, which also hit last night. So, as I said, I could not, well, I'll get into this. I'll tell you a little bit about the tourney. Actually did play well. What a wild event. I mean, that's big time, higher stakes tournament poker with a lot of people in it. What a grind. Actually did quite well. Lasted a long time. Wasn't able to get into that final 15%. But I was hoping that mojo. And it's not done yet. I am going to play a qualifier later on today for a chance to get back into the main event tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. But I can't believe the heater right now that that we're on right now.
I mean, you have to pop in. You had to join us today when you're hitting like this. I mean, it's insane.
You know what? Exactly. There was a qualifier that started at 11. And I'm like, can I do that? I'm like, nah, we got to hook up with the fellas and just talk about what's going on here, getting into the weekend. And then I also remembered that the Royal Rumble is tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
And I would not be doing our service to the lock shoppers if we didn't touch on that before the end of the program.
Huss, how do you expect to win Host of the Year on the Lock Shop if you're not on the Friday before Royal Rumble? You know? I mean, it had to happen.
It would have been very damaging to my candidacy.
I had a thought this morning. I honestly, genuinely thought I might have to text Huss for Royal Rumble picks, and then I was going to have to lay them out.
Oh, no.
I'm quite happy he's here to do so, because that might have been a tough look for old Jakey here trying to lay out the Royal Rumble.
All right, Huss, you've been red hot. The Magic Pool. What else is going on down there?
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny. So we got here late on Monday. Tuesday sort of got our bearings, met up with the Coolbet staff. By the way, just a quick shout out to the guys. It's really funny. I mean, we obviously know the Coolbet Canada team of Pat and Jake and Andrew and all the people that we've worked with over the last number of years. But it's a big operation in a lot of other countries. Jake could speak to that probably more than me, but we got together with a whole bunch of people from Coolbet, from Norway in particular, Finland. I haven't met the South American dudes yet, but they've been kicking around, and I know that they're involved. And I think we got a big sort of get together. We're going to some nice place on Saturday to sort of finish up the trip, as it were, for anyone that's not playing on that in the main event on Sunday, I guess. But it was the Wednesday. There was that off-felt activity, and we were looking at the different things that you could do. There was like a day trip to it's this Tortuga Island. There was a volcano tour, which actually sounded pretty good. And then there was whitewater rafting. I'm very glad we didn't. I was thinking about doing the whitewater rafting. I'm glad we didn't, because the pickup time for that was 5:30 a.m.
Oh, gross.
Which would have been a little tough, but we ended up picking the zip line and ATV adventure. So we got picked up at 8 a.m. Myself, Paul Shag, I guess Brandon, shout out to him, and he actually lasted the longest of the four of us, the Canadian guys that were in the main event, until he got bounced about 10 o'clock last night, and we started at 2. They went to the Tortuga Island thing. They said they had a great time, but we drove about 2 hours outside of the city towards the coast to this adventure park thing. And in the morning, we did this ATV adventure, which was awesome. And I mean, I'm a bit of a city guy. I'll be honest. I hadn't really been on one of these things before, so I was just sort of fired up to ride one. But
God, I love you.
Shit, we were going through, through rocks, driving through steams, through massive puddles and stuff, up and down like escarpments. It was so cool. And then it stopped, and we had about a 5-minute hike up to this beautiful waterfall where we could swim and stuff. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was so much more than what I had expected we'd be doing. And then we had a great lunch, and then the afternoon was this zip line. And speaking of it being more than what I expected, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I've seen like the zip line at the Grey Cup, Dusty, and some other things. Like I knew what it was. This was so far beyond what I had expected, and it scared the living daylights out of me. I will be frank. We get on a carrier that is pulled by a massive tractor, and it goes up a mountain basically for about 15 minutes to get us up there. And you're trusting, like, the staff were really cool. They're adjusting everything. I mean, you don't do anything yourself, and thank God for that. And you get up on this thing, and they basically tell you, all right, you're going to get on this thing, hold it back, there's your brake. And I mean, it ended up being, it was 12 lines, 10 platforms through the jungle. A couple of them were really long, and especially if you've got a little bit of weight to you, I mean, you go at Mach 10. Anyways, it scared the hell out of me, but it was an unbelievable experience. If you ever do get down here, highly recommend that if you can.
Would you do it again?
So
did it scare you so much that you wouldn't do it again, or would you do it again now that you've survived it?
No, I mean, I think it's like one of those things. It's like jumping off the 10 meter. You know what I mean? Like, once you do it, you're far more prepared to do it. But listen, the very first one, which was nowhere near as extreme as the other ones. I mean, if I had a heart rate monitor on at that moment, I might have broken the thing. It was wild. So we had such a great time, and that first day, for the kind of the excursions, was a great way to get set to then get in. And yesterday was the big poker tourney, which is going to continue on. We got here on Monday, so we hadn't really started yet, as it were. But now, I mean, the entire place is packed. Tons of people from Central, South America here. And then with Coolbet, and I'm sure a couple other companies, we've got people from Europe in here, and it's quite the scene. Although, Dusty, I will say this. I mean, we do a lot of online poker, less table poker, and certainly a big event like this. It is a little intimidating when if you're lucky, one of two people that speak English at the table.
Oh,
and
man.
You're following everything that is going on basically in a second language. There was a few challenging times, but it was awesome. And I will say this just about the poker. That is an incredibly exhausting experience. Like the World Series, I have so much more respect and kind of understanding of what those guys go through that play the main event of the World Series of poker. They are in, and it really is survival. I mean, you got to take advantage of the opportunities that you have to build up chips, or take advantage of guys that are in tough situations, or get your great hands. But you also need to be careful of getting sniped at all times. And I mean, all I was doing was just sitting at a table playing cards. And I walked out afterwards feeling like I'd been up for 2 days. But it was a great experience. I'll definitely look to, I mean, as I said, we're going to play in another qualifier or two. I don't think I'll just drop $550 US and buy back in. But it was a hell of a lot of fun. And I think I'm now way more prepared for something like live in-tournament poker after playing at something like this.
Amazing trip so far. When you come back, Sunday or Monday or what?
Monday. Monday's the full travel day. Monday's the full travel day. And so I'll be back locked and loaded on the show on Tuesday. And perfect timing, because I guess we just got a few days. I'm now worried about this Four Nations break, because, I mean, I'm not going to be able to bang out 6 and 8-1 winners every night when the league's on hold.
Huss, we got to get your thoughts, man. We haven't talked with you since the big win over the Buffalo Bills. What's it been like? Have you been trying to take some victory laps, but the people don't understand you because they don't speak English down there, or what's going on?
No, I mean, yeah. Listen, I mean, this is truly a different culture. Like, there's not a lot of, when you throw on Sports Center, because I mean, ESPN is here, ESPN Deportes. Yeah. It's all soccer, a lot of boxing too. There seems to be a ton of boxing on television, like on ESPN, as it were. But man, listen, first off, I mean, another absolute classic between the Chiefs and the Bills. And listen, the Bills fans and the Bills team, I mean, they're dejected. They were very, very close. Like, I'm not sure where this one ranks in levels of disappointment over the last three. I mean, the 13 seconds game to me still stands out as a game that they thought that they had it won. And then they didn't. And Josh Allen never even touched the ball again. And of course, they changed the rules because of that. Last year, they had the Chiefs at home. You would have thought that was the time. Okay, finally, this game is in our house. They will get it done. And then they didn't. And obviously, the same thing happened with the Ravens. But this year, I think they came in feeling that they had a really good chance to win. Back and forth game. I thought Allen played very well for most of the game. But in the end, Spags once again showing that he is arguably the greatest defensive coordinator in the history of the National Football League. And Andy Reid as well. I mean, you hear from the Bills afterwards. They saw a lot of things that they never saw on tape all year. And it goes to the Chiefs won games. Could they have done more through the regular season? Absolutely. But it's about winning and keeping as much of that arsenal ready for the postseason. And I thought they did exactly that. I thought Mahomes was absolutely brilliant. If there's any doubt, and I know it's still hilarious in that Mahomes wasn't even a Pro Bowl guy this year. And I don't know if you saw, I was taking some shots at the Bengals yesterday. This is the Bengals Super Bowl tonight, the Pro Bowl skills competition.
Eric pointed that out to me today. He's like, or as Huss calls it, the Bengals Super Bowl tonight.
So I had some fun with that. But, the game itself, back and forth. I know obviously there was some controversy with that 3rd and 4th down. Listen, the Bills got to own that themselves. I mean, if you're leaving it to the officials to basically guess whether a guy got an inch, a half an inch over a line or didn't, and the fact that they never changed it up, they were running that same play all game and getting almost nothing for it. I thought that was very, very strange. And the other thing that Sean McDermott and Brady, I guess, or the OC has to own. How the hell does James Cook not touch the ball more? I mean, that drive
last 9 minutes,
third quarter, they ran it down the Chiefs' throat, and he literally got it. And every single time he got the ball, he was going 5 or 6 yards. Maybe the most indefensible thing of the entire the entire aftermath is when you look at that final drive when they got the ball 3.5 minutes down 3, exactly where they wanted to be. The first play of the drive, they gave it to Ty Johnson for a loss of 1.
With 3.5 minutes left in the game. Like, you didn't need to, I don't know why. It blew my mind. Yeah, it blew my mind. I don't
Where is James Cook? But again, when it came down to it, we knew that this game would be close. We knew it was 2 great teams. We knew it was 2 awesome quarterbacks. This was going to be decided in the 4th quarter and probably in the end of the 4th quarter, like all of their other games had been. And once again, with a game on the line in the biggest moments under the brightest lights, there's Patrick Mahomes, and then there's everybody else. And that blitz that Spags pulled up on the 4th and 5.
Yeah.
I got to give Josh Allen a lot of credit, though. I still can't believe that he got that football where he did in between 3 guys. That did not seem possible with those guys on him. And I mean, Dalton Kincaid had a chance for it. I mean, is that the way you draw it up? No. But listen, if you want to beat a 2-time Super Bowl champion,
you have to hold that in.
You have to find a way to catch that, and he didn't. So, I mean, it's pretty wild. I mean, this team is 1 game away from being the greatest team ever. I mean, no one has ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row. No one, in fact, has won 2 Super Bowls in a row and got to the next Super Bowl. So they've already done something that no one has done. But to truly be the historic team that I think this team has the potential of being, they got to get the win on. They got to get the win coming up week Sunday against the Eagles. And Philly's defense is going to be better than the Bills. That might be the best unit that the Chiefs play or are going up against all season long. Saquon Barkley in the Eagles running game, absolutely dangerous. Jalen Hurts did not complete 1 pass in the middle of the field in that entire NFC Championship game.
Really?
Now, I guess not 1. Now, again, when you're running the football the way they were against Washington, I guess you can say, well, no worries. I mean, they ran away with the game. But I do wonder what they'll be able to do. And listen, as I said, this goes back to, what Spagnuolo did in both games. I mean, think of the way they changed and abused the Houston protections in the week before. And then, when the game was on the line, Josh Allen didn't have the time. He had 2 guys in a face. He had to hurry a throw, and they ended up getting the ball back. So, I don't know. I'm fired up for the Super Bowl. Very happy, though, we had this kind of slower week. Obviously, the week that I was away, to not worry about it as much. And then next week, all eyes on New Orleans and the race for the three-peat and for history.
Jake, you work with Pat all week. I mean, has he got over the loss? Like, is he still in the morning being like, I can't believe they didn't have, like, James Cook had 134 total yards, I think, with 9 minutes left in the game and finished with 134 total yards. Has that been a sticking point with him?
Yeah, listen, I don't bring up the Bills with Patty right now. Like, it's a very delicate subject, man. Like, 4 times in a row in the playoffs now they've lost to the Chiefs, and it kept them out of a couple Super Bowls. And for the Bills, like, that's a big deal considering, they hadn't been there since 94 or something like that. So, a lot of these like Bills fan, I'm a 97. So if anyone's a Bills fan around my age, like you've never even seen this team get to the promised land, let alone win one. So, it's a tough go for them right now. As a Leaf fan, I think obviously it hasn't been as good as the Bills have been, but I do feel that pain of just like a team that's so good and just not getting where you expect them to go. So, I haven't talked to him a whole lot about it, but I think the more we talk about it and the more Husk, kind of breaks it down is it really does come down to coaching at the end of the day, especially for those two teams that are, I'd say, pretty evenly matched in terms of offenses. We're finding ways to score. The play calling on the Bills side of the ball was so bad, though. And I heard things about the Chiefs, that one of the design runs to Patrick Mahomes, I think Greg Rousseau said he'd never seen it on tape. I don't know if you told me that.
I saw that story. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the difference is what Andy Reid and even the defense that blitz, the disguised blitz that Spagnuolo ran on the 4th and 5. The Bills had no idea what was going on. The O-line, we talked about it after. They were clueless to the fact that that's where the blitz was coming from.
Well, Jake, you know what's crazy about that play?
Worked.
Just that play quickly, that 4th and 5. They had shown that look 14 or 15 times throughout the game, but they'd never come at it on the left with the safety moving up. So they had basically sort of lulled them into a sense of thinking that they knew what was coming because of how they operated throughout that game. And then with the game on the line, hit them with a totally different look. And I compared it. I was watching America's game last night, and it was the kind of the recap of last year's Super Bowl. And if you remember, in overtime, the Niners got down to the Chiefs 9-yard line, and they had a 3rd down, and the Chiefs blitzed McDuffie, and it was McDuffie that was in Brock Purdy's face that batted down the ball that forced them to kick the field goal in overtime. It gave me a very similar thought to, it was a very unorthodox blitz that you very rarely see, that they simply weren't prepared for. And he's willing to put the nuts on the table in the biggest moments of the game and go for plays like that. And it worked again. But I just wanted to bring that up because it was really interesting how you can compare those two.
Yeah, just some crazy stuff. And that's what I mean. The coaching was, ultimately the biggest difference in that game, I'd say. Like, I just can't believe McDermott kept going back to the bad QB sneak they have. There's no momentum. I don't know if you watch when Josh does it. He receives the snap, he goes backwards, moves over to the left, and then tries to find a gap on the left side. It doesn't make sense. There's no push, nothing. And guess what? The Chiefs stopped it 3 or 4 times in that game, and ultimately was one of the difference makers, the one that people keep showing where the line's too tight. It should never be too close to call. If you run the right play, it should never be too close to call, but it was. And, here we are. Chiefs are headed to the Super Bowl again, and I'm going to hate watch the, explicit out of this game.
Huss, what do you think of the 1.5? Sitting there all week so far.
I think it makes sense. Philly's really good. Philly's really good. Their defense is amazing. They run the ball incredibly well. Saquon Barkley, top 3 player in the league this year. So I think it's probably going to. I think as we get closer to the game, actually, though, I think they probably will be. It might be 2. It might be 2.5 for the Chiefs, just because people will be, if they haven't already, going, when are we just going to stop betting against these guys in the playoffs?
Hey, I rode with them last week. I didn't want to, but I was like, enough's enough.
You probably don't even know this yet. I've already bet the Chiefs. I bet them once they were in the Super Bowl. I've already bet them. I'll be rooting for the Eagles, but I put money in the Chiefs because I know better.
I have. Yeah, we talked about this earlier in the week. So is Pat. Like, I'm just determining how much money I'm okay losing if the Chiefs do lose. It's like, because I don't want them to win, but if I have a bunch of money on them and they win, I'll be like, at least I'm coming out up a few $100. So we'll see how it goes.
Do you not want to see history in front of your own eyes? Do you not want okay, as a Patriots fan, I get it. If I'm a Pats fan, I might be like, you know what? There's a little too much steam and too many Super Bowls too early in Mahomes' career.
Way too early.
For my liking.
It is too early.
I give you the pass on that. But, for a lot of other people, and listen, you hear a lot of the noise, and the angriest and craziest people, as usual on social media, are the ones. But I think there's a lot of other people that, the thing about it is that until we had all of this insane gaslighting and, all the people that for some reason hate the Chiefs because Taylor Swift dates a guy on the team, like stupid shit like that. This really was, arguably the most likable team. It's a Midwestern market, kind of a smaller market. Andy Reid, as likable and as successful a coach as we've had. Mahomes comes into the league and kind of takes it by storm. Pretty much unimputed on anything. He's kept his nose clean. There's no controversy. There's no anything. But as Jake, you will well know, when you keep winning, there is a fatigue to it. But I don't know. The fact of the matter is, I think there'll be a lot more people that maybe wouldn't have been with the Chiefs that will be, okay, I'm actually riding with the Chiefs because of who they're playing.
Yeah, Wannick has already said, because we were talking this morning, we're like, hey, are we all going to be cheering against the Chiefs at the Super Bowl party? And Maddie's like, I can't stand the Eagles. He goes, I will be on the Chiefs as an anti-Eagles cheer. So, it's the same type of thing. Like, that's why,
it starts off with Sirianni, and we've been talking about him all year long. The thought of him getting a Super Bowl, but it makes it even better because the ability for my team to prevent him again from getting a Super Bowl is an incredible opportunity. It would make the win even better. But let's also talk about who we're talking about. The city of Philadelphia, the biggest group of scumbag fans in all of sports, certainly in North America. I'm sure there are some pretty bad fans known for some really bad stuff around the world. But if we were nominating the most reprehensible group of subhuman fans in North America, Philly would probably get 90% of the votes. So I do think that there will be a lot of neutrals that'll be like, you know what? I know there's a lot of noise around the Kansas City Chiefs, but I kind of like these guys, and I certainly like them more than the Philadelphia Eagles. So I don't know. We'll have all next week to really dive into all of that, and Super Bowl week will be a lot of fun. And listen, I do get a Bills win, and it's kind of funny because we'll touch on the wrestling later on. But the Bills are sort of like that wrestling character that comes so close to winning the title, and oh my God, I can't believe he got his shoulder up before the 3 count, and then they eventually end up losing to the same opponent over and over and over again. The one thing that I think the Bills have said afterwards, there's a few things that they need to do better. Obviously, a little better execution. I think a little bit better coaching. And we also saw just how important home field is. And I know the Chiefs got it done last year against it, but if the Bills want to win, I think that they need to come with that focus right from game one, no weeks off, and find a way to win the AFC and say, okay, well, you may be the 3-time defending AFC champs, and we'll probably see you in the playoffs, but we're going to make sure that it's in our house. And let's not forget, too, the other thing that I think is kind of understated, because we talk a lot about home field, KC winning the 1 seed also gave them the week off. And the ability to come in, have that extra week and play and go into the AFC Championship game having only played 1 game in the last 2 weeks as opposed to 2 is a huge, huge advantage. And listen, they earned it this year. And it was funny hearing Conor McDermott and Bean speak about that after the fact as well.
It is Nielson, it is Jake, and it is Huss. And Lieutenant Eric's in the chat saying, why does Huss have his shirt on?
Should I gear down right now? I don't know. This is I'll keep that.
Are you hitting the pool again before you get are you going to hit the pool, the magic pool, to get some picks for tonight? Were you in it this morning? What's the plan for the rest of the day before you go in that qualifier? I'll probably end up going down this afternoon. There's another main event. I think Paul might be going in it this afternoon.
Paul Shag. Shout out the Dogger Pass podcast. Hanging out with Shag, by the way. Another great Coolbet sponsored pass. If you were an MMA fan and like to bet MMA, you should definitely make that show a regular viewing for you. He's a really, really sharp guy. And to find out, like just hanging out with him the last little while, the amount of time and research that goes into not just the big UFC cards, but some of the regional ones, it's been fascinating. And some great tips on betting in general as well. So I've had a lot of fun kind of learning more about that, because that has never been like the fight game. Like we kind of talk about the big fights, but I don't really get into that other stuff. So maybe I'll have another club in my bag when I get back from Costa Rica and we can get into a little bit more of the MMA. But yeah, this afternoon I probably will do a little bit of chilling. I might go down. I'm not sure what time that other qualifier is, a little bit later on. And then probably get out. I mean, the last few days we've been either on these excursions or around here with the poker at the casino. Probably get a little bit away more into San Jose, like the main city, which is I don't know, about 15 minutes away from where we're at. And then tomorrow I think we got a big Coolbet gathering with a bunch of the Norwegians and the Europeans, and going to be heading to some famous Argentinian bar and restaurant, I think Svein was saying. So nice. I will say this, for cool bettors, this is another perfect reminder. Check those promotions pages. You know, if you're already betting, often it's a matter of like just clicking something and making sure that you're eligible for it, much like the Four Nations face-off, or in this case, like Brandon, who is with us, and Graham that were here. I mean, these guys are here in Costa Rica for a week, playing in this amazing event and doing all these cool things from playing in the Lock Shop Poker Series. Like it's awesome. So, and when you are able to get on one of these Coolbet excursions, I can guarantee you that you will be treated in a first-class fashion that will absolutely blow your mind. So I'm really looking forward to the weekend and the rest of everything. And then getting back, and then I don't know if you guys have talked about it much, Dusty, but we got some more exciting things happening.
We have talked about the Four Nations. I'm hoping you can find a lazy river in Boston, and I can just float around in the background while you're doing your video picks. People are asking for your Royal Rumble picks. We'll get to that in a second. Big Dave texts in at 780-218-9999, says, I really hope Hustler doesn't have a connecting flight in Philly on his way back to Winnipeg. What happened to Huss? He landed in Philly and we never saw him again. That's a tough one. All right, Huss, set up the Royal, because it's a light night in the NHL. We got like 4 games. We can hit that before we wrap. But what are you looking at for the Royal Rumble?
All right, let's get it up here. Let's get it up. And we've got some great. If you go to Coolbet, WWE fans, this is the best, always the most fun event of the year when it comes to betting. I mean, because a lot of the times you kind of have a pretty good idea about who's gonna win, and you got a minus 5,000 favorite. But the Royal Rumble is so different. For those that don't know, 30 men go in, one person every minute or 2 minutes, and at the end, whoever is the last guy that hasn't been thrown over the top rope, they win the Royal Rumble and they fight for the championship at WrestleMania. So what you're really looking for are guys that, based on the storylines or where they're at in their careers, like they could headline and be a main eventer for the biggest event of the year. And it's very interesting right now because we've got sorry, I've just got to pull it up here. It's a little bit different with what I'm getting here in Costa Rica for the way my thing is set up. But anyways, yeah, you want to have someone. It's not as better. Oh, can they win a battle royal? It's who's going to be the guy that they're looking at to be basically a main eventer for the biggest event of the year. So we've got the men's Royal Rumble, which we'll kind of focus on. There's some other Royal Rumble specials. There's a couple other matches, and there's the Women's Royal Rumble. But let's start off with the big one here. Oh, wow. We've had some interesting line movement as well.
I was just going to say, Huss, it was it was Cena all week.
Yes. So as of yesterday, John Cena was even money. CM Punk was plus 150, and Seth Rollins was plus 175. Those are those I think are the big three. It is very likely, almost 98%, I think that the winner is going to come from one of those three. I won't say it's 100 because Roman Reigns at 6-1, which is actually a much better number than you will see in some other places. I saw him in and around 3-1 before. So if you do like Roman Reigns, Coolbet is definitely the place to get something down on it. But right now, CM Punk has moved to minus 135. Cena has now gone to plus 175, and Seth Rollins is at 2-1. Now, here's what we need to know about John Cena. This is his farewell tour. He's come back to WWE for the start of this year, and he's going to be he's off movies right now. So I think we're talking about sort of a 6 to 8 month run in the WWE, and then that's it for him forever. John Cena is tied right now for the most WWE championship wins ever. So I think there is an expectation that at some point he will win the belt again. And at least for a short period of time, he'll be the guy that will be, no one's ever done it. He's the GOAT. He will retire as the most decorated WWE champion ever. So I think there's a lot of reason to like Cena in this. Anyone that knows me talking about wrestling on this show, I cannot stand CM Punk. I've always thought he's a bit of a fraud. I don't understand why so many of the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, seems to slurp this guy over and over again. But I will give him credit. He's sort of come back to WWE where everyone thought that he would never come back again. He cuts an amazing promo, and he has been a very, very featured part of what's going on right now in WWE. Now, Cody Rhodes is the champ. There's one of the two champs. Gunter and Cody Rhodes have the two belts. And I think the reason why the CM Punk number is where it is that they set up an amazing, amazing promo of Rhodes and CM Punk. And it's sort of, I think people are feeling that is foreshadowing those two guys going at it for the belt at WrestleMania. So that's why he's the favorite right now. I still think, like looking at the board right now of this, I still think the value sort of with Cena. Coming back, winning. Now, I guess they don't really need him to win. You could have him win the Elimination Chamber. You could just give him a title match at some point. I mean, he's certainly worthy of doing that. But I really do think, I'm kind of surprised that Seth's actually at 2-1. I would have maybe thought that he'd be almost a tier below, closer to Roman Reigns. Although the fact that he lost to CM Punk, whatever that last event was that they had, maybe means they've given him one. Maybe they get him back on top to it. But looking at these numbers right now, based on it, I think I'm still a Cena guy. You know, you can't see me not supporting CM Punk, but the odds will tell you. And this is a lot more than just, you know, a football line moving to 2 points. When the wrestling lines move big time, there's usually reason for that. So, you know, often, like we've saying, I think that, you know, this isn't like, I think, what did I get Edge a couple years ago at, was it 6-1? That was one, you know, a little earlier in the week, and then that came down. But I will say this, if you are thinking about it, again, the event is tomorrow, keep your eyes on the lines, because these can move, and they can move significantly, literally in the matter of a couple of hours. A couple of other ones, I mean, The Rock at 10-1, there is the thought that The Rock, Roman Reigns, which they wanted to do last year at WrestleMania, is going to happen. That is one way they could make it happen. And certainly having The Rock, all of a sudden, The Rock's music play and come out would be huge. So there's the men's Rumble. Now, what's actually probably more fun from a betting standpoint is some of these Royal Rumble exotics, if you will. The competitor to make the most eliminations. Jacob Fatou is a minus 185 favorite. This is sort of the guy might not win, but he's the one that will throw the most guys over and really get featured to try and build him up for a future. And this guy does seem like he's on a bit of a rocket ship to being a guy that will be fighting with Roman and Jimmy Uso and some of the other big guys. He's kind of from that new bloodline. Braun Breaker, who's got the Intercontinental belt right now, he's at plus 350. And Drew McIntyre, 3-1, who has been in that role before. I don't think you'll see a Punk or a Cena or a Rollins in that group, although they do have kind of 8, 14, 16-1 numbers. The one guy that if you wanted to go for a long shot, and I might put a little sprinkle on this, is Bronson Reed at 20-1 for the competitor to make the most eliminations. He is a beast himself. He has kind of been associated with the bloodline a little bit, cuts a good promo, and I think has the potential to kind of come more into the main event area. This is the sort of thing they use to try to get a guy to be more of a main eventer. So while Jacob Fatou is probably where everyone is going right now at minus 185, 20-1 on Bronson Reed might be worth a small sprinkle. You're not going to get 20-1s very often when you're talking about things like pro wrestling. Iron Person, who lasts the longest in the Rumble. Again, it's, you go in at 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins is the favorite at plus 125. An incredible worker, a guy that can go in and be in the ring for an hour for something like this. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Rollins is like 3 or 4 in and lasts right until the end. So again, this is a timed thing. Other guys that are in the mix, Sami Zayn for this one. He, of course, has all that link with the bloodline. But Seth Rollins at plus 125 is also the guy. CM Punk, listen, if you think CM Punk is going to do it, I don't think he's in good enough shape, and he's a little too old probably to do the full hour. But 10-1 on that, because I think everyone expects that he'll be in the mix at the end. I guess one other one to think about is Penta. He's this new luchador that just came over. They've really given him a big push over the last couple of weeks since he joined WWE Raw. At 5-1, he's the sort of guy actually that I think, and I believe, listen, I don't know a lot about him other than he's been probably the best luchador in the world for the last number of years. But you want to have a big time feature and not winning, maybe the Iron Person. So a Penta at 5-1 is probably something that I'll consider as well.
What was his name?
Yeah.
Bronson Reed, Huss? Did you say, was that his name? He's hurt.
Bronson Reed.
He's out. He's not going to be back till the summer. I guess he hurt his foot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw it pop up in the chat.
I did not know that.
I went to look for a picture of him, and the story popped up, and then I saw the chat confirm he's going to be out for a little bit. So just a heads up.
Too bad. Okay. Well, I appreciate that for the up to date on that. And then there's just some head to heads: Punk versus McIntyre, Punk versus Rollins, Rollins versus McIntyre as well. Women's Royal Rumble: Charlotte Flair, the Queen, returns. She's been off for just about a year, I think. She's a minus 179. I think she certainly makes the most sense. She is box office. She's kind of like John Cena coming back, probably the best to ever do it at minus 179. Io Sky's 2-1, Bianca Belair plus 250. Becky Lynch at 5-1, Jade Cargill 8-1. I think Jade Cargill is someone that is going to be a star at some point, but it's just taken her a little bit of time for her to really get to that main event level, and I just think she needs to work a little bit more. Love Liv Morgan, but she just had her run. I don't think she'll be the person. So it's who's going to be giving Rhea Ripley the most realistic chance for the belt. Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley have the 2 titles right now. They're 20 and 25-1 respectively. If either of those didn't have a belt, they'd be at the top of the list. So again, there's a reason why Charlotte Flair is the favorite. If you wanted to go off of Charlotte Flair, Io Sky's really an interesting one, and they haven't been doing much with that group that she's in. and puts on a hell of a match. So the 250 or 250 for Sky or Bianca Belair. But I think that because Charlotte Flair's been gone long enough, that's going to be where people go to. And then just quickly, there is a couple of other. We got the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes like minus 2,000 favorite against Kevin Owens. Can't really bet that. DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns in the WWE Championship. I'll tell you what, I've seen these guys a little bit on SmackDown since they came on. DIY has been around for a while at minus 400, plus 250 for the Motor City Machine Guns to really kind of get them to be a big thing going forward. I think I'll probably put a little sprinkle on those guys. And then what do we have here? We got some Royal Rumble specials. The OG Bloodline, anyone from the OG Bloodline to win the Royal Rumble. So that are the Usos, Yeet for Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn as well. Play the favorites, Charlotte Flair and John Cena, both to win the Royal Rumble. Obviously, that's changed a little bit now because CM Punk is the favorite. But
yeah, Huss, that one, I'm just having our guys check that one. The number might get a little bit better with the Cena number moving. I think because Cena had been sitting kind of even money all week, but now that it's up a little higher, that might move. That might shift.
And then the new Bloodline, that last one, 25-1. That would include a Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure whether we'll have some crazy upsets. I think Charlotte Flair's probably very likely to win the women's, and someone at the top of that list for the Royal Rumble. But again, I'll tell you, if you don't like the number right now, give it a couple hours, look at it early, but don't wait too late, because as you get closer to the event, these will go off the board for obvious reasons. So get your bets in when you have the chance.
Last thing on Rumble here, Dusty.
Yeah.
Since we did a big segment on it, we do have a free spins promotion running for today and tomorrow for Rumble. So we have this slot in the Coolbet Casino. It's the WWE Bonus Rumble Gold Blitz, it's called, okay?
Okay.
And there's no deposit, no bet requirement. If you go to the promotions page, you click Rumble to Riches, is what the campaign's called. You opt in with the code RUMBLE25 and you get 20 free spins to that slot. So you can test out that slot. And there's no bet requirement, no deposit requirement. You just go, get your free spins. I think I sent it to the den, and you came back. He said he won a $1.50 from the spins earlier today. So that's how he started his morning. But yeah, 20 free spins. Try out that slot. Maybe do it before the Rumble. It's only on today and tomorrow. So get in on that. Super easy, super simple.
I've hammered that one before. It's a fun one. I spend most of my time in the sports betting lobby, but I have been known to pop on over every now and then. And that would be one of my favorites in the old Coolbet Casino.
Yeah, it has some of the old characters too. I think Undertaker's in it. Cena, Booker T, I think, is featured in
Cena,
it as well.
Booker T, Undertaker, and
one other one.
Am I missing one?
Yeah, Stone Cold.
Yeah, Stone Cold.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at Stone Cold right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so free spins, just opt in with the code Rumble25. Enjoy those. Maybe you hit big and you get a little extra money for the bankroll this weekend. Also, the UFC promo, as usual, is going. Bet 25 on the UFC, get $25 free bet for the following week. And as well, our win boost starts today into Sunday. It's 20 or 25% win boost on the NHL or NBA. You choose. You know what? 25% win boost might be worth holding on to. Leafs Oilers tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
We're gonna get into it.
That'll be a big one.
To hold on to it for.
You will have a ride with Dusty or EST parlay or whatever you want to talk about. I'll have them for you later today or definitely tomorrow morning, because that's going to be a big one.
That's
there.
the second biggest slate on the game tomorrow in the NHL. It's a big one, guys.
What's the other one?
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Maybe the top two teams in the National Hockey
Winnipeg,
League going
Washington?
at it. You know it.
That's so good.
73 points. 73 points.
I think they're playing at the same time too. Like that little 7 o'clock window tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. Is gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice.
Huss, look, man, you've been red hot. You can't. I mean, we only got about 3 minutes here, but Give me your best bet in the National Hockey League tonight. I'm riding with whatever you say.
Let's see what we have here. We got Nashville and Buffalo. Buffalo coming off putting up a touchdown on the Bruins. By the way, what a week for Jake. I'm sure you probably, as a Leaf fan, hate the Bruins. You must have loved. The Jets put up 6 last night after Buffalo lights them up for 7. By the way, Jets 2-0 against Boston this year. Total goals 14-3 in the 2 games. You got to love it. And shout out to Parker Ford. This is not a betting thing, but you want a great story. Undrafted kid from Rhode Island, plays at Rhode Island. The Jets sign him, Moose sign him after his career. Plays last year in the A, this year in the A, sort of like a middle 6 grinder guy in the American Hockey League. Morgan Barron gets hurt. So there's a hole in the 4th line. He gets called up, plays his first NHL game last night in Boston, about 40 minutes from where he's from. The entire family's there. Jets blow the doors off Boston, and he scores in his first National Hockey League game.
So good.
I mean, you can't write the script any better than that. We've got Dallas and Vancouver tonight, CBJ and Utah, Blues and Avalanche, Nashville. Let me get over to Coolbet here. Back to the NHL.
Big Maple wants you to go run to the pool first and then come back right away.
Yeah, I think tomorrow we'll do. I'll put something together.
Big NHL slate Saturday,
put
right?
Something together for tomorrow's slate, and we'll have to do another WST parlay considering the way the Jets are playing right now. We're winning here. So Vancouver plus 141 in Dallas. A live bet.
Sorry, Huss. Do you think that Columbus line's pretty crazy? Plus 175 in Utah tonight for a team that's 7-2-1 in their last 10 on a 2-game win streak.
Played last night. I think that's probably why we're getting it back to backs, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Utah 3-game losing streak hasn't been that impressive really all season. I thought that was a big number.
It's a big number.
Wow, they beat Vegas last night too.
Yeah, they won in overtime, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and they're holding down the wild card. They jumped the Bruins. They got 2 points. I guess the Red Wings beat the Oilers last night.
Yeah, in a shootout, first shootout of the year for the Oil.
Big 2 points for them. Man, I'll be honest. I'm sort of with you on that, Jake. Like just the number itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet Minnesota last night. Did you see my tweet yesterday about their home road splits? Minnesota is under 500 at home. They're 11-12-1. And last night, playing the second of back-to-backs, they shut out Montreal, and they now are 25-4 on the road this year. It's their 20th road win.
They're
very strange. The one thing I'll say about Columbus that hasn't been great is their
road record.
Their road record hasn't been good. But I'll tell you what, they're in such a dogfight right now. This is a team that I think is getting some real belief behind them. And listen, you beat a team like Vegas on the road in OT, you go in. Like, I don't think that there's going to be like this team's lost for a long time. This is fun for them right now. I mean, I don't think there's no nights off for Columbus. So I'm with you just on the number right now on that. Colorado's at home to the Blues. Vancouver's 1-2 in a row. Now they go up against Dallas. This is probably going to be a much tougher spot. Why is Buffalo a home dog? Did Buffalo play last night too?
No, I don't think Buffalo played last night. I'm double checking right now.
No. And the night before, Nashville up home to the Canucks.
Yeah, I think the Preds are still getting too much credit from the book, if I'm being honest. Like, not that Buffalo deserves any credit themselves, but I mean, Nashville is not the team we expected them to be.
What do you think, Huss? We got Oil Stream coming up here right away. So what do you think?
How about let's just go 2-gamer. Buffalo, Columbus, both plus money.
It's going to be a good number.
Plus 453.
5-1. I'll get in the combo.
If you could run to the pool right after this and then text us if anything changes us, that would be great. Okay.
You got it.
Okay. Monday's a travel day, buddy. Monday's a travel day.
Monday's a travel day, so I'll be back. I'll be back locked and loaded for the Tuesday slate. Jets are back in action, and as they say, I'll fire out something. I don't know whether we'll put it up. I don't know if you're going to be working, Jake, but I'll definitely try and put together a WST parlay for tomorrow, and maybe one more Pura Vida parlay, and try and get one more winner in Costa Rica before we got to go home. Big slate in the game tomorrow. And then, of course, Royal Rumble. It is up in Coolbet right now. Good luck to everyone, and enjoy the madness.
The oil stream is coming up. NHL salary cap numbers we're going to dive into a little bit. But that's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or EdmontonSportsTalk.com, oil stream in less than 5 minutes. Huss, good luck in that tournament. You're going to hop in a little bit later on. We will catch up with you on Tuesday. Safe travels home. For Huss and Jake, I am Dustin. And Dustin, that was weird to say. I never say Dustin. Nielson or Dusty, that's weird. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us in the Lock Shop today. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.